I hope you can hear me. I have these headphones in. I wanted to talk about brainwashing. So sometimes when we're in relationships, romantic or otherwise, we can sort of lose ourselves. So we want to connect with the other person, and in doing so we sort of assimilate into their life or lives, and we lose track of our own identity. So we can convince ourselves and fool ourselves into believing that whatever is good for them is good for us, even if it isn't. And it's sort of like Stockholm syndrome a little bit, where the person falls in love with their kidnapper. And I'm not saying that the other parties are trying to be purposefully manipulative or cruel, but it can just happen naturally, being that one person might have stronger energy. Maybe not stronger energy, but the person has a stronger sense of themselves. So the other person will feel like they don't know who they are, and they will lose their ability to understand who they are. I'm gonna walk a little bit faster so that I don't freak out these people behind me. But anyway, brainwashing. It's almost like you convince yourself that whatever is good for the other person is good for you, even if it's not. And then later on, when you have perspective, you might look back and think to yourself, that wasn't the best thing for me. This guy is so pretty. And you might recall why at that time were you in a place where you felt like it was a protective mechanism to convince yourself that whatever they were doing for themselves was benefiting you. It's almost like you're touting their accomplishments, but it's not necessarily about you. But somehow being attached to that person in some way makes you, in that moment, feel better about whatever's going on. And it could be something devastating, but you're just sort of putting this band-aid on it. And you might do that for some time. Oh God, all these dogs. I'm just gonna go back this way. Not that I don't like dogs, but they'll start to bark when I walk by. So everyone's out walking because it cooled off and it's so nice outside. This is the perfect time. Sunset walks. Okay, so back to this brainwashing. That's just the term that I'm giving it right now. We can call it whatever we want, and however it resonates with you. So to think of a time when you might have almost been advocating for someone else's happiness and purpose and fulfillment more than your own. And that is definitely altruistic and not necessarily a bad trait. But in the end, who's doing that for you? Who's standing up for you and supporting you and lifting you up? So then when you realize that you can be so strong for someone else, but that's codependent, you can also be that for yourself, but it's harder to do it for yourself. because you feel guilty around giving yourself the support and the nourishment that you need. We're not taught that that's important. Oh, it's selfish to only think about yourself. So just something to consider when you're going throughout your day or with your interactions and your relationships. And think about, like, in the big picture, if you were to step back and walk away from it and get some perspective, is what you're doing, are the decisions that you're making in your best interests? Because yes, we can make decisions that are best for relationships and for the collective. But when we don't make decisions, these flowers are so pretty, that are best for ourselves, then later it could rear its ugly head and we could have resentments that are really deep and triggering, and then that doesn't benefit anyone, because everyone that's in your life is going to be subjected to that feeling, that negativity that you have. So
right, so that's why I want that green.
These little doggies. Oh my god, this sky is so pretty. It's like the camera can't capture it. It's more of a periwinkle color. Okay, so back to that, releasing the idea that being selfish is negative, because it's not. It can be very healthy in moderation. And getting back to who you are as an individual then will only enhance how you are as a collective in relationships. And I hope that this was helpful for you. And just because I espouse it doesn't mean that I'm always living it. You know, some of these are channeled messages. Most of them are. It's just what comes to me in the moment of realization, clarity. And I share to share the wisdom and the downloads, because who knows who we're getting this from. We could be getting this from someone else who's been through it, or even from our own experiences. But a lot of it is just energy that's out there and it's being recycled. And look at these clouds. In the moment, we often know not what we do, but to not let it ravel out of control, and to get a grip on it, and to kind of not be living like an ostrich with your head in the ground, with our heads in the ground, and being aware and not being in denial, but not having to wear the weight of the world on our shoulders or be negative. You don't have to carry these burdens on your back. You can release it and let it go. So just talking about it is a cleansing, is a healing. It's an opening for you to take that out of your compartment and flush it out. Flush it down the toilet, the proverbial toilet. Put it out into the universe and recycle, so that you can heal from that and move to the next phase of your life, the next chapter of your life. Thank you so much for watching.